and welcome to Pouring Over Properties, your podcast with Beau McDougall, NextHome People First, Scott Lamborn, Beau Title, Equity Title of Nevada. So this is a podcast where two Vegas locals spill on properties, real estate, and also local spirits. And today we have one of my favorite local spirits with us. You know, I'm talking like it's a third person, but it's actually just a beer.
It is our third person today.
It's larger. It's what I call a man can. It's 16 ounces and not 12. And honestly, it's one of the best brews brewed here in Las Vegas. It's from Love Lady Brewing.
We've been there before. A couple other breweries or beverages we've had there.
Yeah, I don't think we've done the Love Juice yet, because before I think we did like a October flavor, if you will. But this Love Juice is phenomenal. If it's something that you have not experienced or have not had, if you're a Vegas local or just visiting, honestly, if you see it on the menu, I would highly recommend you popping in and popping the top. So let's go ahead and get into it.
And they have two locations now,
Oh yeah.
Little tasting room.
Great. They're both in Henderson, which we're Henderson boys. So fun fact about Love Lady is that it's actually family owned and operated, and the last name of the family is
Love Lady?
You guessed it. Never would.
Feeling it.
Honestly, I thought it was just a cool name, and it's actually just a name. So cool last name is a better way to put that.
Yeah.
But it has oats in it. So if you're hungry for breakfast and you're not really an eater, mix in one of these. You know, hey, rolled oats. I'm pretty sure they sell them everywhere, right?
They do. Overnight oats, I think, is the new hot thing.
Overnight oats. Don't even know what that means. I'm not really a breakfast guy, except for when it comes to Love Lady.
So today's topic is going to be a little contested, not heated, but it's definitely a hot topic in the real estate market. And if you're a buyer or seller moving forward, so for that
controversial.
Yeah, you said that word before, right?
I mean, honestly, yeah. I mean, it's opening for an argument every time you bring it up right now.
Yeah.
Not an argument, but a little bit of discussion action. Yeah. Let's go with
for that, I also have a backup Love Lady because we don't know quite how this is gonna flow. That's his backup. I'll start. Scott's gonna kind of be our mediator here as the independent third party.
Exactly.
I do want to give my normal description. I am a broker, but if you're a real estate agent, I am not your broker. And neither one of us are smart enough to go to law school.
We're drinking beer right now.
So we're not your lawyers. I'm not your broker.
And I'm in title. So it's a whole different realm, which we should probably do a title-specific one so I can sound smart for a day.
Let's do that. At your office?
Anytime. Love it.
I think you have whiskey at your office. Do you have any Vegas whiskey or Nevada whiskeys at your office?
I have one at my house. Las Vegas Distillery is the name of the whiskey. So yes, all right, yes, we're going to do that.
Good news, guys.
Coming to you soon.
To his house for the first time ever. So anyways.
Facts.
It's about, if you haven't heard, if you're not a real estate nerd like us, there's been some major...
NAR, what does that even mean?
National Association of Realtors.
Okay.
Remember, you got to say TORs.
Oh.
But there's been a class action lawsuit against, as well as some major real estate brokerages, and really this has been going on for 4 to 5 years.
Yes.
It just kind of finally came to a head around Halloween of last year.
Yep.
And
the first settlement happened, right?
Well, that wasn't the settlement. That was the verdict.
Oh, okay.
That was an actual lawsuit. That
by the way, you are going to lose, and then they were like,
well,
okay.
They lost.
And so they paid.
And they did not pay. Because then there was the damages portion of the verdict, right? Like they were like, it was ruled that yes, you were guilty of whatever the accusations were.
Makes sense. Yes.
And now there's the time period before you figure out what the damages are. There's a chance to appeal and all that legal
jargon.
I know there's steps and processes that we probably should have brought David up.
But there's a lot of information. Yeah, there's a lot of information that it's hard to sift through, and we're here to sift through that stuff.
Yeah.
And really give you the honest truth of how it's going to impact you as a seller, because it will impact you as a realtor, a buyer, a seller, a loan officer. All those parties are going to be impacted through this
settlement.
NAR settlement. Yep. Yes. Well, I was scared to say settlement. You just called me out a second ago about the settlement thing. So I was scared to say, but yes, that's what I was going with.
So, to be fair, it hasn't fully actually been executed yet. There's an agreement.
Just like the A's coming to Vegas, how it's like it's supposed to happen, but nobody's like, but it is. But then you talk to somebody well, it has to be, and it's like, okay, I don't even know what's happening. So can we get through some of that fluff, some of that blubber, and actually understand what's happening?
So
cool.
Down and dirty. The lawsuit was sellers paying for buyers, brokers' commissions. basically saying that the seller was paying for a service that the buyer was receiving.
Which, right off the bat, I'm a little bit confused about how that's being worded. Because, I'm the buyer. My $500,000 bought the house.
Correct.
I'm pretty sure I paid for it all.
Yes, I agree with that. That's not how the legal.
Pretty sure I got a loan. I probed financially. I got money sent to everybody, and then they paid it. No, I'm pretty sure if I gave you money and you paid somebody else, I'm pretty sure I technically paid for that.
Yes. So that's where.
Anyways, third party.
That's not
no, third party perspective. I'm sorry, I'm not in that game.
So let's move past what we think. We thought we knew what we should know, what is right, what's wrong.
I'm just trying to break it down,
Moving forward with this proposed settlement, we'll call it a proposed settlement because it hasn't been given the blessing yet, right?
Sweet, I haven't paid anything. Sweet.
So, starting July 1st. This year, member of an MLS, a multiple listing system. That's basically how realtors put their listings on the interwebs, and then from there it gets distributed to all the third-party sites. There's 100 plus of those.
Yes.
So, like Zillow's, the realtors, the Redfins, they actually get their information directly from these MLSs. So, starting July 1st-ish, I'm sure it could still,
right,
move a little bit. This ball's still moving, kind of like the Ace. There will not be a line in the MLS for saying the seller is offering the buyer's broker, because remember, all transactions go through brokers, is not the agents.
They have to,
a certain amount of money. So, it was, remember, commissions are negotiable.
From day one. I've been in this game only 9 years. I know it's not the most long amount of time, but also every time you'd see negotiations be actually negotiated.
Yeah, absolutely.
Weird. It's a part of the transaction.
So, let's say we're going to say they're offering X%, just to be safe. They're offering X%. That's going to be removed from the MLS.
Yeah.
So now, starting on July 1st, if you're a member of a realtor organization or one of these other major franchises that were covered in the settlement, and then if you're part of a smaller brokerage like I am in a franchise, we were actually covered under NAR settlement. So it's kind of weird how we're all different covered.
Yeah, I think there was a dollar amount set behind it, or how big are you, how much money you make. Really, but that's not that's a buyer or seller. It's not a concern to you.
That's a me issue.
Yeah.
But the big thing you're gonna see for buyers, because remember, this whole presentation is about buyers. We'll probably do another one about sellers.
Yeah, no, buyers are unfortunately affected the most, but also they're hand in hand. They're both needed in a transaction.
There will need to be seller education going forward, because we're going to see some really bad advertisements when this comes out.
Yeah.
And we're going to have to get ahead of those. But that's, like I said, for another day, probably with volume.
Offer a flat fee to the buyer's agent of $200 and see what kind of agents are going to be there to show up. And, there's so many ways that you can interpret this. And it's so hard to really cut through the fat like we're trying to do. So honestly, take this, with a grain of salt, because it's all still in the works. Nothing is set in stone. Nothing has been etched into anything, and nothing is going to be super official until July 1st, and who knows if that's truly the day. And see how things are truly implemented is a huge part of the discussion that we're having today.
So. Step one for buyers. Let's get back to the buyer. In my brokerage, and brokerages that are getting ahead of this, agents are getting ahead of this. If you're a buyer, you will now see an extra document that we've had in Nevada for
buyer's broker agreement. Yeah.
But what's funny about it, this has been required in 10 plus other states for years.
I know agents before the settlement all happened, if they weren't offering, they were using it, and if the seller's agent didn't offer X percentage, that buyer would pay them on the side, not on the same amount, to get them to what they agreed to, because they knew their services were worth what they are. And honestly, I think as a realtor, as a consumer, having a buyer's agent representation, having a good buyer's agent realtor save you the most money.
Absolutely.
They really do, because they know what to look for. They know how to negotiate, because a lot of us, we're just excited that we got approved for the loan, and now that we can afford this house, and you're just not seeing as clearly as somebody that deals with this on a day-to-day basis.
As a buyer, you're emotionally attached.
Yeah. I'm just pumped that I'm walking into this new build and I can afford it and the payment makes sense. I'm excited about the whole scenario.
The tile, the paint, the cabinets.
No.
I'm emotionless anyways, but when it comes to the real estate process, I'm double emotionless, because my job is to look for those fine details and make sure that nothing's getting slipped in.
Show your value, you know, like, yes.
So the buyer brokerage agreement in a whole is a contract between you and me, you and your buyer. The things I'm going to do for you. I'm your fiduciary. I'm going to make sure I have your best interest in the forefront. Obviously, that's kind of covered in the duties owed, but in the buyer agreement, it explicitly says, and yes, you need more beer, that, right?
Yes.
The part that people are going to get hung up on is there's going to be a line in the buyer's broker agreement that says, you're going to pay me or an agent X amount, percent, flat fee, whatever. And with the settlement, you're going to hear a lot of stuff saying that sellers aren't paying that fee anymore. So twofold. One, could be true.
But if you look at the percentages and like what FSBOs, and FSBO is a foresight owner, they on average sell for 20% less than what a represented seller would be getting for. So a 6% commission compared to a 20% less on the sales price.
Ever.
No, you don't.
X% commission.
You don't.
Yes.
I'm entitled.
That's true.
Yeah, I'm not a broker. I don't own stuff. I actually just own one house, and it's awesome.
So.
Beau's invited.
But don't be afraid of that number, because as a buyer's agent, as a buyer's broker, I'm going to try to negotiate that price into your loan. And seller agents, we'll talk about this in another episode, we should be prepping our sellers that's to be expected. We're going to be getting these offers with buyers' closing costs, includes now their commissions. And as a
not different, because like honestly, like I mean, you've been selling houses for a decade now, and you're born and bred into this whole industry, right? So there's always been negotiations on buyers' closing costs, repair costs, all these other costs. It's all negotiable. All this stuff at the close of an escrow. So if you have a tried, true, and trusted real estate agent, like that person is worth their money in weight in gold. Let's call it.
But here's
not weight in gold, because I weigh 200 pounds, and I don't know if I'm really worth that much.
You are.
Wow. Cheers to that. Wow.
What a great.
I'm gonna walk away. I'm just too happy.
Here is a little precursor to where the government knows we're going, because obviously most buyers are going to use some sort of loan product, right?
Yes.
And we know FHA, conventional, VA, they all have their rules.
Yes.
Conventional and VA.
I've actually heard VA.
Well, sorry. Let's start with conventional and FHA.
There we go. Okay.
They have caps on how much you can generally get in seller concessions.
Yes.
They've already started updating their rules
to include.
To not include, saying count towards that cap.
Oh.
Right?
It's called an amendment, where they're amending their rules.
Right? So they're saying,
whoa.
We understand this new world. If you need to ask for closing costs to cover your buyer's agent fee, we're not going to count that in that loan total of closing costs.
All right. I mean, funky, but I'm down with that, because we all need a little bit of financial help from time to time.
Well, no, it's just not financial help. It's how the transaction's been happening anyways. Now it might show in a different than how everything's going, right?
It's all about how you itemize it. Like, talk to your CPA. Itemizing is key.
I have one of those downstairs if we really want to go crazy.
Where is Chase Bush at?
Yeah. Now, the sticking point where it's going to happen, right? We still have a few months. We still have a little massaging to do. But on VA loans, technically speaking, a buyer is not allowed to pay for any fees, right? They can't pay for a broker fee that people have had for a while. They can't pay for a marketing fee. And they definitely can't pay, right now with the rules the way they are, a broker's commission.
Okay.
It's just part of the VA rules.
It is part of the rules,
But they are going to have to amend that, because the world of real estate is changing.
Which is crazy. Is it like they're implementing something that they haven't amended the rules to make it legal yet and all in 2 months' time?
It's
May 2nd today, so we're 2 months away from this being implemented, and like, you're actually going to break the law if you do something like that, right?
Well, you're not going to break the law. You just got to work for free, which I really enjoy VA buyers. I really appreciate our military and what they do for us.
Oh yeah,
I'm not working for free. Right?
Yes.
It's going to have to change.
It's not working if it's for free.
Correct.
You work to be paid.
It's charity.
It's the way it is. Yes, let's go with that word.
That's going to be changes, but you can see the other loan products that are controlled by the government, like the FHA loans, Freddie and Fannie, have already taken those adjustments.
I know Franny.
Yeah, do you?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true.
It's weird. Weird name.
And I think VA's I think like any other,
They're gonna change it. It's just
gonna work.
Truly like the government and veteran product behind it. It's gonna take a little bit more time. There's a little bit more processes and logistics that go behind approving something of that nature. Because honestly, it's probably the best product out there. I mean, luckily I'm in a military family. You know, my wife is, her family is, so we're USAA product. And every time like an insurance person comes up to me like, hey, what's your home auto and all this insurance? I'm like, USAA. They're like, you're the best.
Day,
yeah, every time. So there are a little bit, connections that need to be not changed, but just adjusted.
Updated.
Yeah, updated.
So going with the settlement, which I think is the whole settlement. So now we're not allowed to put any offer of compensation on the end. But per the settlement as it reads right now, if I have a personal website, which I do, if I want to advertise it on a flyer that we're offering X% to a buyer or broker,
you're allowed to.
We're allowed to, as long as it's not on the MLS.
Yeah.
That's the stipulation. You have to have a broker agreement.
So you can't tell the agent. You only tell the consumer. Is a shorter way to let that, right? I mean, because I don't have access to the MLS. I'm a consumer.
Correct. And
you do.
And I'm pretty sure.
Wow.
Pretty sure.
All right.
Not a lawyer, and not everything's been washed out yet. All those third-party sites, you probably publish it.
We should probably get one of those Sports Center tickers that say we are not like lawyers and we are not like absolutely geniuses.
When this gets edited, we'll make sure it flashes every couple of minutes. Just
B-roll.
Flashes.
Boom! By the way, they're drinking beer.
Not your broker. But
also, what we're saying is exactly what should be interpreted. You know, this is what I believe.
As a buyer,
to be the
things
truth.
aren't going to change that much.
No.
Yes, you will have the sellers that are saying, I'm not offering anything, I'm not negotiating anything, and you know what's going to happen to those properties? They're probably going to stay on the market longer because people are already scraping to their barrels, especially with today's market with interest rates and prices, to get their down payment. They can't come up with another X% on top of that.
No.
For their buyer broker.
That's why all Fannie and Freddie, they're amending their loan rules because they know that this is not something. And guess what? They don't want their business to go away. And honestly, it's 18 to 20% of the U.S. economy is through real estate. So that should not be actually play either. So this is all still being worked out. The kinks will be kinked out. And honestly, it's something that you need to keep track of. And we will do updates on everything that transpires.
Now, if you've been watching this and you're a real estate agent, this is real talk right now.
Ooh,
Real talk. If you are a agent that has relied as a buyer on a quick lead, get in the house, get the job done, you need to get some mentoring. You need to get some coaching. You need to get with a broker that's going to help you out.
I've always made fun of the agent. I mean, sorry for those that are watching this that I may have worked with. They're like, you know what? I love buyers because I just tell them I'm gonna work for free, man.
Which you should never say that.
Really? That's what you're saying, huh? Okay. Well, that seems a little bit of a problem. So yes, but that was a conversation it was said to me. Words were thrown at me, and every time that would discredit that person on the other side of that phone call. And that's where this all came from, like you said.
Yeah. So you need to get better. Basically, is what it is. You need to figure out your value proposition because now there is that buyer-broker agreement that people are going to sign, and your buyers expect more from you because they are putting pen to paper saying they are going to pay you X amount for your services and for your expertise. So you can't just be a fly-by-night agent anymore. Yeah. Please don't be a fly-by-night agent.
What value are you bringing to the table? What is your value proposition? Why should I hire you over the 15,000, 17,000 other agents out there? Well, guess what? It is. I think as a buyer, you should interview 1, 2, 3 people, just like everything I do in life. I go get a quote on a few other things. My landscaper, I'm going to get a couple quotes. I'm not just first person I Google with 17 reviews and 4.5 stars is the number one option. No, I actually want a personal referral. I want a trusted person to maybe guide me in the right direction. We all have heard this about car mechanics, right? You want that person you trust, not somebody that you maybe have Googled and now you're really mad about. No, you need somebody that you trust and somebody that's knowledgeable with something worth paying for.
Absolutely. And that, not to scare new agents, there's so much opportunity with this going forward.
Yeah.
Just, you need to be mentored well. You can't just rely on going to the first broker that says they have leads, because those leads aren't going to be as...
But they have e-classes.
Great. Cool.
Sorry. I should have said that.
Yeah. But what's really funny is we're gonna wrap this up. But I don't know if you saw this 2 days ago. Zillow just launched, because obviously this is gonna affect Zillow and those other sites a lot, right? Because they really relied on that uninformed top of funnel buyer, right, where you buy the leads from Zillow. So they're offering a 7-day home tour broker agreement.
What?
Yes.
So 7 days. Okay, explain that to me. First time I've heard of this scenario, so I can't wait for an on-camera reaction.
Yeah. So it's only obviously been out 2 days. They haven't really released a lot of the details, but basically what it is like we're trying you out via Zillow, but we got you locked in because you're a Zillow lead, and then we have to have this agreement before you.
We own your data. Yeah.
And then they're saying to the agents that they're then selling these leads to, it's now your responsibility during the 7 days to get a real buyer broker agreement with your compensation. Because the catch of the agreement also is if you don't have a number or a percentage or how to do your buyer broker agreement, when you go into contract and per se that seller is offering X amount plus whatever compared to what your agreement is, by this new agreement, you're only entitled to X. So all that stuff on top needs to go back to the buyer. Now we'll use some real numbers. So say you're at 2% and they're offering 3%. That 1% needs to go back to the buyer in actual closing costs.
Okay.
So I don't know how it's going to work out where Zillow is making you sign a contract with no commission, right? There's no phase in that because it's this showing thing.
And
then you show someone, now are you locked into that Zillow with no commission? I think there's some potential,
there might be.
There's probably smarter minds than this. Obviously, they probably have better lawyers than I could ever afford.
Not better. Better lawyers.
Better lawyers.
Yeah, and that's a huge red flag. If somebody has a better attorney than what their value proposition is, then you should probably look elsewhere. Anyways, sorry, Zillow.
But that's going to be very interesting. That's what all these third-party sites are going to have to start doing during this. So as a consumer,
that is awesome.
Figure out what you're signing and what it means for you.
That was a nugget worth probably rewinding, double tap back on YouTube a couple of times. Listen to that again, because trust me, that is a wise way to put what could be happening when it comes to Zillow leads and honestly what you're dealing with as a buyer, because that's a little bit of a wild card scenario.
It's gonna be interesting.
Wow. All right.
But we're going to wrap this up. We're going to finish our love juice. But at the end of the day, I want buyers to know, don't be worried about how this is going to wash out. We will figure it out.
Yeah.
Brokers are going to figure it out. Good agents are going to figure out, get you into the homes that you really want. Be it negotiating.
A good agent is worth it every freaking time. A good referral, whenever somebody has given me one, worth it every time. So just know who you're dealing with, know their value proposition that they do bring to the table, and you're gonna be well off. Real estate's not going anywhere, people, by the way. Still gotta buy and sell homes. Still gotta get approved. Still gotta do all these things, right? So you just gotta maybe vet the product a little bit more. Don't buy the first click on Amazon. Don't do that. No, you actually get to do a little bit more research, unfortunately, but data's out there. Data's prevalent. You can find out the data behind somebody and actually understand how many homes they've sold, what their, expectation is, but what their past is like and what they're really bringing to the table. And trust me, if you don't have that, you need a good referral. I know 6,000 real estate agents. I can give you a good, honest opinion because that's the best thing I bring to the table outside of sweet bow ties. So just keep that in your mind when you're looking to buy or sell, because Beau's number one on my list. My heart.
He's great.
He's number one on my list.
Cheers to that. And agents, remember, be human, be better, and get through this. It's not going to be the end of the world.
Be human? Is that like a NextHome thing? Because I know you guys.
No, it's human over houses. It's my new thing for leadership, because I think we've lost that in a lot of our personal relationships, to where if you're just human and you do the right things for the right purpose and right people, everything just moves smoother.
All right. Well, yeah. Well, everybody's a human, right?
Yeah.
I was like, way to narrow that down to be human.
I know.
I just want.
It's my new thing.
So a little bit.
Can I have a thing?
I've had a beer. Let's spiral a little bit. So I don't know if you know about this Tucker Carlson Joe Rogan episode podcast.
We are spiraling.
Yeah.
Because we're 25 minutes into this, and this is good.
Well, yeah, and he mentioned that there's no UFOs. They're all here already. They're all supernatural beings.
So you're saying my be human thing is correct?
Well, no, I'm saying they could be lizard people. They could be not a human. They could be just a spiritual entity that has been here for thousands of years. No, I think it's wild. Wild concept. Not something I agree with. Make sure we know. Hey, tagline, not agree with what I just
I
said.
think he's watched Men in Black a few too many times.
What, the guy with the tiny head, he gets shot off and it grows right back?
The dog.
I've seen lizards with tails that grow right back. It's not unfeasible.
Okay. Well, anyways, buyer broker agreements are coming. Buyer's commissions are going away. Ish. Don't be scared of a buyer. Don't be scared of an agent.
Seriously.
Loved having you guys. We'll be back next week with probably a better episode. That's a little
No
more
way.
grounded
This
in fact.
content was super relevant and something that everybody needs to digest. And honestly, forward it on to the next friend, next person, next renter that maybe is thinking about looking into buying a home. Because trust me, this is valuable information and something that needs to be talked about, not on just Fox 5 News or a news entity, because it seems super negative there.
It's clickbait.
It's
all
not.
clickbait
It's
there.
so much clickbait. You know, trust me. Reach out to your trusted professionals, and they're going to give you the actual, honest truth. So,
And sidebar,
with that said,
if they can't tell you what it is, that's not a trusted professional.
facts.
Cheers to that.
Cheers to that.
Guys, hey.
Thanks, folks. Wow, that was like animated maniacs. That's all, folks.
Thank you for watching my video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. I can't wait to make a reel of that one.